welcome everyone. Today we are going to discuss about budget of Nepal. It's actually 2083 in Nepal. Many of you might not know this is the date we follow. It's the official calendar, BS calendar. In English date, we might be on 2026, May 29. It was announced, but in Nepal we are still using BS as official calendar, and we are in 2083 budget. So I would like to first of all just show the budget announcement in the Nepalese font and Nepalese text, but I have a translation of it. And one of the topics I want to discuss today is about Sarvabhaum in Nepali, which means souvenir country. A Nepal can or should not be a AI compute center. What's the budget? What's the amount government is trying to allocate? What it practically means? Is it even possible, or what does it even mean? It's like a very high tech word, right? To just say that we will be a souvenir nation in like 2 years, 3 years, whatever the time period is, and in Nepal we will have everything in our own data center, our own premise in Shuchatar, Kathmandu. Is this even make sense, or is this a very vague dream? Completely doesn't make sense, or it makes sense? Whatever it is, we're going to discuss in very fine details. So what I need to make very sure in a very fast is that it's a very highly ambitious project. It's not a normal thing. It's something that government has never done. Infrastructure on any kind of AI and server is maybe the first time the government has tried to initiate something. So if you are on AI or any kind of server, you might know the Nvidia's H100, one of the pioneer of the modern Gen AI era's GPU. Just imagine that there is an Nvidia H100 with 80 GBs of RAM that will cost around, it's the market price is highly fluctual and volatile, but let's assume it's like 25,000 to $40,000. How many of we get if we have a market cap of like $100 million in our pocket? What will happen? How many of that will be able to purchase? How will that maintained? All those things we need to have a very in-depth knowledge about how AI works, or what are the alternatives. What is government trying to do with this infrastructure? Are they building data center? Are they building a GPU cluster? Are they renting the startup? Whatever they have said in their budget is that they will promote the startup for their how and what, and of which amount, what is the practical cost. So we have to go through all the practicality, all the pricing values, and what it costs to rent on the cloud right now on AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Service, whatever there is. So we have to be very practical and serious about this cost, because government is just trying to do is like a random hi-fi thing, saying that we'll go to the souvenir year computing. That's not going to happen overnight, and that's not a very practical also. So there can be global hyperscaler like AWS, Azure, just like I said. What can they charge us? What will be the charge for the startup if the government subsidize some of those costs? Do government really have to go all in for the infrastructure? What will be the cost breakdown? What will be the break-even point for the budget that will gain the country the advantage? When will we be able to use that raw power to our advantage? Will it be any advantage? That's the topics I want to discuss in full detail, so that at least someone from government will try to stop this nonsense and not invest anything in that part of AI dedicated server, but rather use a data center. Maybe we will have AI dedicated services and APIs and incentive for startups in different way. AI, uh, building the AI hub is a big dream. It cannot be practically achieved in a country like Nepal, where we do not have expertise for server infrastructure. Having a cold climate, having a water running everywhere, having a excess electricity is a completely different thing. Having a AI infrastructure is completely different thing. So we are trying to mix two different things, and we are trying to fix the another issue that we have excess electricity by just buying the hyper high scale AI infrastructure is not a proper solution. I think that's why I'm trying to break it down every topics part by part. How we are going to purchase the hardware, what is the cost of hardware, what will be the cost of silicon after 3 years, what will be the procurement. In Nepal, it's a long process. It takes 18 months to just buy a rent, or let's say open the bed to the compute, and then starting an infrastructure is a very long time. It's not a road, it's not a hydropower. We can't wait that much for AI, right? If today I have a startup, I have to run it tomorrow. So I have to have a GPU that is running for me by tomorrow. So we cannot wait for 18-month lifespan of infrastructure development, hyper clouds, and all those things to be active. And then I will wait for my startup to roll on Nepal, and then government will provide me the subsidy. What we should do in that long period is like we should immediately go to the AWS, get them bind with us in a high price bargain and give them discount. We can ask them for a discount. The government can easily get the high value discount for research purpose, educational purpose, all those things, and every startup will get their low cost API inference. That cost will be only around few $1,000s per startup, right? That's not a huge $1 million rupees cost. But what government can do is like they can leverage that small subsidy to startup, and they can start today, and we'll know how many startup will come up. We even don't know the data. How many of them are going to be startup related to AI? How many of them need a real AI? That's a inference cost, or that's a inference cost or API cost. We have no idea because there is no any public data available about the companies that are using AWS or whatever the external provider, Bedrock, Amazon, whatever it is. They have no idea about the actual compute the people are paying for cloud infrastructure or hardware in the data centers. So my personal suggestion is like we have to go through other countries, what they have done, how they have subsidized this cost for infrastructures, GPUs, and bare metals. We can have a data center. I am all with data center to have a local data and then have a hybrid cloud infrastructure where we'll partner with big companies like Microsoft, and they will come up in Nepal and build a server and racks, and but data will all be here. But inference computing and all of those things, major expenses, government should never bear that. And that has been a major issue of Nepalese government plannings and budgets for road infrastructure, making airport everywhere. This is the not new thing that they are trying to fancy. It's like building a airport, right? Without a plane, building the airport in Pokhara was a disaster from previous government. Same thing will happen if we'll do this for our AI infrastructure also. Without having a plane, you cannot build an airport, right? So without calculation of how many startup really needs AI, if you are going to build the AI infrastructure before that, it's a dangerous move, and it's not going to pay back well, because there are many companies, there are many countries in South Asia and like Bhutan, India, Singapore, whatever they have done. Singapore is a very rich country and they can afford to do lots of things. They can take extra risks. They have a budget of billions of dollars. So we can't compare that directly, but at least we can compare with Bhutan of how they are using the hydropower, computes power, and all those things. And especially regarding the cost, again, just like airport, I have to emphasize it again and again that we should not build the airport before we have the planes. So it's someone may say that it's a chicken and egg problem, but it's not. We have to have a very strong robust data. For that we can, for that period, let's say for next 1 year, government will subsidize the API cost given through bedrocks of AWS or Azure cloud compute, whatever the cost of startup they will burn through that channel. Government will subsidize their 25% cost, right? Then startup will come up with the government and show them their planning, their infrastructure cost, their budgeting cost for AI models. Everything will be transparent and have a very good idea about what startup are doing in Nepal, what kind of compromise they are doing, what kind of skill they need, what kind of budget we need. We might not know that if 100 million is a big number or a small number. We have no idea. It's a random number, right? The 100 million is just a symbolic number to get the estimation of how many infrastructure we will have, how many running hour per megawatt it will cost, how many power consumption. Every calculation that we are doing is a rough number until and unless you know how many startups are going to allocate or use this infrastructure in real life. So my problem with this budget is like they are doing it without the actual consumption capacity calculation at first. So that's my suggestion to government. Hope they understand why we should not build the airport before we have the plane. Same issue should not be in this government as well as the old government has done. We have to first understand the startups needs, their inference capacity, and then we will discuss and decide and design the new requirement. Thank you for watching. Namaste.